Okay, I have the time as 6:32, so we'll call the work session of Mayor and Council for the City of Snellville, Georgia for Monday, July 27th, 2020 to order. We'll go over the regular business meeting first. We need somebody for the invocation. Gretchen, had you volunteered for that before?
I did on the COVID night.
Can you?
Okay, I'll do it.
Not for the pledge.
And you'll do the pledge? Okay, and then we have the minutes, the Youth Commission, Chanel, is it Chanel?
Chanel.
Stevens, she's going to be here tonight?
She will.
Okay. And then the public hearing, the only thing we have is for the public to submit written or oral comments on the millage rate proposal. And then also everybody should have it on your calendars. We'll have two meetings on August the 3rd, one at 11:30 and one at 6:30. In the past, those meetings have lasted 5 minutes or less, but we won't say that they will be short meetings, just so we don't jinx ourselves. Under new business, we have the second reading for the town center alcohol ordinance. There were a few updates to that. Does anybody have any questions or issues you want to talk about before the meeting?
Everybody has seen the updated map.
Yeah.
That Jason did, everybody, because that's the critical part of the whole document. Everybody's okay there?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have the second reading for the parks alcohol. Is there going to be a postponement, or are we?
Yeah, there'll be a postponement.
Are we postponing it indefinitely, or are we thinking a specific date?
No, until we have a discussion.
Postpone it, period.
Okay, so I'll just get that motion at the time. And then we have the construction manager at risk services. Tony or Butch, do you want to give us an update exactly what we're doing tonight? Because it's a little confusing to me.
Short version is you're approving a $15,000 pre-construction funding of the construction manager at risk, bidding and putting together the guaranteed maximum price. It's sort of the standard function of a CM at risk is there's this preliminary part that is expensive doing a bid process, and so there's a pre-construction funding that goes with it, and then you will see the guaranteed maximum price, and you can decide at that point if you want to go forward. Going forward,
We don't approve that maximum price tonight.
you don't have
We're
it.
just approving the 15,000 in
Pre-construction.
You are.
It has not been developed yet. And the four-person committee that reviewed that had the short list interviews and reviewed all the responses were Todd, Dave, Eric, and myself, and I think we were unanimous in recommending winter construction.
So the way the motion should sound, I think Dave got most of this
Yeah, I got it
down.
written down.
But should you choose to approve this, the motion will sound like motion to approve Winters Construction as the construction manager at risk with awarding $15,000 of pre-construction costs to get to the price necessary to complete the guaranteed maximum price proposal to complete the parking deck.
Dave, you got that, or?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Now, you should have in your agenda packets the CMR, construction manager at risk responses of 3 other bidders. And that's your beginning point for assessing those numbers. And so they were, Winters was the low bidder and the low bidder on cost. And my understanding is the general conditions and the others are percentage fees. So whatever that guaranteed price comes in, it can move up. But you're not locking yourself into that tonight. If it moved up too far and those fees got to be larger, you could stop right there. And it's really just the 15,000. And hopefully working with Bush, which is what this does. It frees up the contractor to come in and value design to get the guaranteed price to a certain number.
And if y'all didn't hear, one of the reasons not only was winter the low price, but they also build the whole structure using the design plans virtually, so they can catch any of those oops, having pipes in the wrong place or things that hang down too much, which saves cost and time overall, keeps us from having change orders. So even though they were the lowest cost and we felt most comfortable with their management team, they also brought the added benefit of that pre-build build virtually. So
They have a lot of really good technology. The only other place that had equal technology was twice the price,
yeah,
literally.
And they did build the police department,
yeah.
and we didn't have any issues that I remember in that
So
construction
they
process.
they promised they would deduct the cost of my hard hat because I got one at home.
Oh, well, good.
How nice.
I have one too, and I'm
There you go.
anxious to dust it off.
We can save $30.
You've got a hard hat anyway.
Yeah.
You don't
I don't
have
think it would matter.
It's not like I ever use it for anything.
Everybody will have one of those in the shovel, I guarantee you that.
Oh, boy.
You know, there were gold shovels in the
Something it.
back room.
Then we have item D is a housekeeping issue, the adoption of resolution 2020-11. Anyone want to cover that?
This is just a housekeeping matter. We needed to update that one for the county's hazard mitigation plan. So Roy and his staff have been on top of that, so it's just a necessity.
That's an annual thing, isn't it?
What's that?
Is that annually we have to do that?
I don't think that's annually.
Like a decade
Is that
or
5 years?
5 years.
I saw that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Where are those from?
From you?
Mm-mm.
They're not from you?
They were from Kurt, really.
Really?
I had them, they were our daughters, and I was gonna take them to Goodwill. And he said, Chris, you might want to.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for thinking of me.
Okay, next we have
Greenway E.
Greenway Phase 1 construction. This is a big step here.
It is.
Well, in 2018, you all adopted the master plan, and we've been working on it diligently. You know, Austin started it, and he had a great relationship with the county, got all of our trails that we wanted onto the county master plan. CPL has done a good job doing the engineering and laying it out, and we got a great bid from Dickerson. You can see how much money they left on the table. And I think I put it in my summary, but in that $1.1 million is $400,000 worth of town center storm drainage. So we're really pulling out of two pots here. Town center budget on storm drainage looks very good. So you're really getting this trail for about $722,000, this phase of the Greenway for about $722,000, very good price. And Dickerson's a great contractor. I think Craig and Gay are here. They can vouch for them for sure. So we're looking forward to working with them.
Well, I've seen a ton of their work in Summit Chase. Okay, so that's all for the regular meeting. So we'll go ahead to the agenda. Any correspondence, Butch?
No, ma'am.
City Attorney's report?
I have two matters for executive session, one real estate and one personnel.
Along with the as long as it takes.
10 minutes. You know, there's part of it that I don't know a lot about, but part I know about is 10 minutes.
Okay, then we have the update on projects, Butch?
I think everybody got the Thursday report on the town center. The meeting became virtual with Gwinnett Water today. From Eric's report, they are, we're still on track there. We still have one easement yet to require, and that's RCG. They are finally moving. You know, all of these property management firms with COVID, they're up to their neck and renegotiating leases and trying to keep tenants happy. So what I ended up with was working with the new property manager. We lost Charles Swain. We had a deal worked out in February with Charles Swain. He left. So we ended up with a new guy, the virus hit. So what they have done is hired an outside engineer, an outside legal counsel, and we're making some progress now. They know it's a win-win proposition. They get rid of a lift station, and they can use the property, if they ever need it, back behind, which is kind of environmentally suspect. But in any case, so I hope that we hear back from them next week with a go-ahead, and then I think Tony and Chuck have already reviewed the county document. So hopefully we're ready to go next week with that last one. And we can turn the county's ready to bid the project. So, and this is the sewer for phase 2 of the town center. Not necessary for anything in phase 1. So I think timing is still, you know, I think we're still early. We just need to keep pushing ourselves. The other 2 meetings, the Grove Design Review Team, I think we're full of council members. We stopped just short of a quorum there. We'll send out a good report on that. That should be a great meeting tomorrow. And then the Library Business Center Design Review, the virtual meeting at 3 o'clock. I'll send out information for anybody who wants to join on that one. But we had a good meeting last week with Chuck and Tony and looked at several documents. Tony's going to have a little update on the market development agreement. So I would say everything is moving forward. We still are trying to push the post office contractor to get done as early as possible. So we're hoping that everything stays on track. We've got until the end of August to get these documents in order. Not to get them adopted, I would say, but make sure we basically are agreed with all of the specifics. So a lot of progress going on there. The other few items, once again, I think I mentioned in an email today that I am cautiously optimistic about this year's budget. I'm hoping that in the next 2 or 3 months are as positive as the last sales tax check. If you remember, we budget $260,000 a month, and even that's for capital, but it's a good gauge for how the economy's doing. The month before that, it dropped down to 238. We sort of thought it would keep dropping. Well, it came in at 278. So if everything keeps going there, and I think I said in 3 or 4 months, we'll look at the possibility of a budget amendment where we can take care of our employees. So I hope that, and then maybe we can start looking at new employees also. The 2020 census, it's amazing. Solange, I think you had a good day at the market a couple of weeks ago. It is, with it's, the virus has affected everybody. Yeah. Trying to do more outreach. I sent something to Brian today, I think, to get some free swag that we can hand out and get people's attention. So we're going to do that. But we're at 72.1%. Just to give you an idea, Lawrenceville is 59.9. Duluth is 63.9. Sewanee is the only city in Gwinnett that's even close to us at 71.2.
Where's Norcross? Do you have Norcross's numbers?
I do not.
I'm just wondering because they had some people like going out months ago, door to door, and I'm just wondering how they're faring with their percentage.
But I know we're in the lead. That's all I can say.
Those couple of banners that we had done, I know one I think is still sitting out on the town center, or the town green. Can we just move those around?
We can.
Because, people get used to it being there. If we could just pick it up and move it somewhere.
Okay, we'll definitely do that.
Maybe once a week or once every other week, it just gets moved to some other high visibility place.
The UDO, I don't know if anybody has looked at the video. I think it's really good. Barbara does a great introduction. Caleb gives a really good overview of the document. And I don't know how we're standing with number of hits and questions, but it's just been on there a few days. So really encourage people to take a look at that. Commercial property and code enforcement. I wanted to tell you about a success story. Everybody knows the problems we've had on Governor's Wall. 2645 Governor's Wall. They are about to get a CO. They have, Jason said, actually they issued the CO today. On the tax digest, our fees of $8,500 have been paid. That's a success story through the nuisance program. So if we can get more of those, and I think we've got a process for doing that. I think code enforcement and the legal team and the planning department, we can do more of that. But just know that that's a big win for the city, because that place was awful. It took a while, but it was awful. And let us know about other issues out there that we need to be working on.
I did have a neighbor contact me about that, that car wash, like across from, that old car wash across from McDonald's.
On 78.
On 78. He said it just looks terrible.
Okay, not the one that we got DOT to knock down.
Down
It's
next
next to
Arby's.
the Goodyear
Yeah,
store or
yeah.
something, yeah. He said it's just such an eyesore.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Because we knocked down a car wash and we got DOT to demolish those buildings on their property on
Okay.
78, and that looks a whole lot better.
Less graffiti. I have a question under code enforcement.
Yes.
Periodically, I'll get a call from our code enforcement officers or a text about tracking down various people because I have the ability to do that, or I'm more used to doing it. We have owners that are out of state, and even if through the court we issue a warrant or there are citations issued, they're not being put into the system. So if the person gets pulled over, there's one in Texas that I finally was able to find him a phone number. I haven't followed up to see whether they got through to him. But our code enforcement warrants aren't going up on the system. There may be a great reason for that, but it hamstrings us for those out-of-state people because clearly we're not going to send somebody up to East Pawhucket or whatever to chase somebody down. But with everything that's gone on over the last few years, there are a lot of out-of-town owners, and that it might help. It's just another tool.
Okay. Roy, do you have any idea why that might be happening? Why wouldn't those go on into the system?
Well, if a warrant tax has been issued, the problem with a lot of those is they're not personally served.
Yeah.
They're mailing them and doing those things. It's a whole lot better not to put them in the system if we can't guarantee they've been personally served.
Yeah.
Well, how do you personally serve them if they're in Beaumont, Texas, or?
Well, you can't extradite them, and you can't do.
So basically comes down to having to hire somebody in Texas to go by and serve them?
Well,
We probably don't do it that way. The criminal sanctions only work with service. And
Right.
So usually we abandon that and go to the nuisance, which is what 64, which means we can attach to the real estate here, whether they're here or not.
Right.
We have a service where we can serve them at their tax registered address. So we let the property stand.
Okay.
It's a little more expensive.
And
like
it
that
takes
was.
longer.
Yeah, it takes longer. It
Yeah.
does take longer. Now, we can pretty quickly get in and clean stuff up with that as quickly as we can get to a court order. It's just getting paid back and all that stuff.
Right.
It takes longer.
Right.
but you don't issue an arrest warrant because
Oh. Yeah, I don't really want people arrested because they let their grass grow long. It's just, it's a sticking point, and it's tough to do anything if they're out of state, and there's more and more of them. So, excuse me while I turn on Do Not Disturb. I don't get any more texts about my cool socks that got my dog on it that I got for Father's Day. I finally get a chance to wear them, so the kids are all excited.
All right. We'll
Sorry.
see what we can come up with. Miscellaneous, just a couple of things. I hear from our city attorney Chuck Ross all the time about how wonderful the roundabout is. I don't know if y'all have been, it's looking good. We need some rain for sure. But Snell, when they started having to pay liquidated damages, they got on their horse. Looks good out there. And I think I sent out a little information about the preliminary end-of-year report. There's still some adjustments to do there, so don't get carried away with that. But it's, given the department heads and everybody really pulled together at the end of the year, and I think we're hopefully going to be in the black on that. So we're looking better than I thought. So sorry to take so much time. I know you've got a lot.
No, that's okay. Item B under discussion items is the market development agreement, and we'll handle that in exec session. Item C, regarding public works right-of-way maintenance obligations.
Just to let you know, Craig and Gay are here. We are down 2 maintenance personnel in Public Works. What we'd like to do is not replace both of those. We want to see what the private sector can do for us. So I think I sent out just some initial information we sought out from Chelsea Gardens, a very good company. We'd like to bid that out. We didn't put those numbers out for public consumption. Y'all are the only ones who have those numbers, so keep those private. But with we're talking about right-of-ways, we're talking about public grounds, and quite a lot of maintenance that will allow us to save one person. And if that number is, I was very happy with the estimate that we saw. That's a lot less than the cost of one person and a lot less headaches. And they do a great job. So we'd like to bid that out and put out an RFP and with the scope of work that you see there, and just see what the number comes back at. If you guys are okay with that.
We've contracted that out before, haven't we? And then we brought it back in-house?
Yeah, we did. And this time we did not include like the historical cemetery. There's certain things that we need to keep ownership of, and we're just a little more careful coping and different things like that. So we tried to keep that in mind. And we also were down, we no longer get the 2 inmates that we had doing landscaping. So that's 2 less bodies on top of what we've lost.
Will we get them back if this COVID thing ever goes away?
I don't know that we will. I don't know. So many cities have dropped them anyway.
There was only 2 cities left by the time the program, us and the loop.
Well,
and Little.
Yeah, I just know it really helps the inmates because they're able to earn some money, so when they are released, they have something.
In time, they get 3 days for every day
Oh.
they work. So.
Didn't realize that.
Keep that
But
in
so
mind.
we'll proceed there.
Okay.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I will.
Discussion of the millage rate adoption calendar,
I think you talked about the next meeting.
the
Yeah.
2
There'll be
meetings
2
that we'll
meetings
have.
on that Monday. And to help the discussion, what I'm doing right now is putting together for the town center basically a sources and uses budget, which will show you the pots of money we're anticipating having to use to pay for our $30 million town center investment. And that includes SPLOST, it includes the fund balance, and it includes the debt service that we will need. So And you guys will have a chance to adjust those levers however you want to. And it just kind of, it does kind of play into the millage discussion somewhat. So I'll have that out in the next few days. And if you want to turn one of those meetings on Monday into a work session to discuss that, that'd be great.
Social media policy.
We just sent out a standard policy that GMA put together, so we have some kind of, we know PD already has a social media policy in their SOPs. We wanted the mayor and council to see what we were thinking of. There may be a few little tweaks there, but just take a look at that and give us your feedback. We don't want to be too loose, we don't want to be too tight. We just want to put something out there that gives employees a thought in their mind that, you know, I have a policy to follow. Tony and Chuck will have to look at that also, of course. So just to let you know where we are there.
So if y'all will take a look at that and just provide any comments, I think Christy and Solange, you guys could probably be very helpful in this review. I'm sure you have to follow a lot of this with the school.
Yeah.
Okay. Update from STAT on events calendar. Kelly, you want to?
Yeah, well, our board met last Monday, and with the spike in COVID and the hospitalization rates, the board has decided to suspend all events through October, for the exception, of course, the farmers market and the food truck Fridays, which we felt we could manage and control with social distancing. The other events, you know, we draw pretty large crowds here, and we just felt it was something that really, for the safety and health of the citizens and visitors, it'd probably be best not to have the events. Given other cities are having them, from what I understand, I think Grayson just had their Christmas in July, and Perry Cox called me today and told me how he went with his grandchildren and how wonderful it was and how it is social distance. I know, I think Lawrenceville's starting their concert series in August, from what my sound guy told me.
No, Loganville has something.
Well, Loganville has a big concert, and when I say big, the Swinging Medallions, they don't just come from Walton County, they will come from everywhere. That's a big concert, yeah, and they're having theirs Friday night. So, just to keep those things in mind, but the board did vote unanimously to not have any events through October, with the exception of the food truck Friday and the farmers market. But we did want to, you know, see how the council felt, to see if everybody's in agreement before a press release is sent out. Plus, I've got everybody and their brother calling me every day, even going as far out as October. I need to make some decisions and do some damage control, and we are talking especially September 5th. You know, that's the big Labor Day celebration with fireworks, so, you know, that's a big one. So, what is everybody's thoughts?
I think it's the right decision.
Sadly, I agree.
I'm good. Just one question about food trucks. Will we add that September?
Yes, so
Friday
we will. We'll
and
add on
October, or
this, no, we'll do through October. We'll do September, because in lieu of, we won't have the Labor Day.
Okay.
But we will have a food truck, yes, in October, yeah. And then we're gonna kind of wait to see what happens by the end of September, to wait on the Christmas tree lighting, in hopes we might have some changes. But if we don't, at least it'll give us enough time to, you know, pull back. But we're already getting applications for the Fall Festival now, so it's best if we make that call, you know, we can just put it out there now and not get everything in and then pull everything back and whatnot. So,
One other thing too, we are planning on the extended farmers market again, going all through the entire year, so that, and that will be out in the parking lot. And again, that's a very you know, we only had 5 or 6 well, I guess we have a few more vendors than that, but not very many. But anyway, we're planning on that. We're looking at the possibility of, you know, we'll need to work this out with Butch and everything, but the possibility of, this past year we had, you know, intermediate markets also between the first of the month, and they were extremely popular and helpful for the vendors. And
Produce.
yeah, produce
and
vendors
meats.
only on those, and we'd like to check with not only Butch, but, you know, the legal team and see, you know, if we need to be there for those, or whether they can just come out and, you know, do their
Kind
own
of like
thing on those
Red Earl
intermediate
does.
ones. So, if you'll give some thought to that, or give us some thought right now also, that would be helpful. But the vendors, you know, are very, you know, they can't put a hold on their crops or anything, so, you know, it was so helpful for them last year, very popular, so whatever, you know, if we have to, we will, you know, man them again. It's not a big deal to man them just in the parking lot, but, you know, it'd be nice if we had some time off too. So, anyway, give it some thought.
So I think, Kelly, it sounds like everybody's
Everybody's good?
in agreement with what you guys have
And I
decided.
think it's a great idea if we can figure out how to man it so y'all don't get worn out, have the intermediate markets. I think that helps.
We'd only do it, I think, for like produce and meats.
Right.
That's all, just so they don't have to go a month with crops that are ready to sell.
Right, and we need to let them know now so they are ready for it.
I think Greg Earl, you know, who used to be our big vegetable vendor out here, I believe he does the, what do you call those boxes?
CSAs.
CSA boxes. I think he still comes to the parking lot, I believe. That may have changed, I don't know. But he used to. And then did that on his own. So it would be something similar to that. It would be, you know, probably mostly, you know, orders being taken and being brought to the parking lot for those who are needing them. So, anyway.
Okay. That is all we have on the work session agenda, so it's just 7:05, so we should have time for the exec session. So we'll go ahead and call that. During the work session of the Mayor and City Council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Bender announced that certain matters should be discussed in a closed session of the meeting and asked council to advise the city with respect to closing the meeting. City Attorney Tony Powell advised the city of the following reasons to close the meeting: to authorize negotiations to purchase, dispose of, or lease property